Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, your trusted source for the most important updates on the Iraqi dinar and global currency developments. Today's segment covers one of the most defining moments in Iraq's recent financial history. A groundbreaking live statement by Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has electrified the dinar community, both within Iraq and across the globe. With years of speculation behind us, his words suggest the long-awaited revaluation may finally be at the doorstep. This could mark the beginning of a new chapter for millions of investors. Let's dive into the unfolding story. For years, those invested in the Iraqi dinar have felt that change was coming, but the path forward remained uncertain. That uncertainty may have just been shattered. During a live televised address that resonated across Iraq and international markets, Prime Minister Sudani delivered a message that was anything but vague. He directly addressed the topic of revaluation, confirming not only progress, but readiness. According to his speech, the Iraqi government has completed essential reforms and is positioned at the final stage of the revaluation process. Sudani's speech carried a level of confidence and clarity that hadn't been seen before. His tone was decisive, and his body language reflected determination. He openly declared that the dinar's revaluation is not a distant ambition, but an active government objective. This wasn't a political sidestep. Instead, it was a detailed statement that laid out Iraq's readiness and the steps that have been taken to align the country with international financial expectations. He outlined how Iraq has successfully controlled inflation, strengthened its foreign currency reserves, and modernized its banking infrastructure. These improvements, according to Sudani, were critical preconditions to launching a successful revaluation. What made this speech truly stand out was the Prime Minister's insistence that the international community now views Iraq as a financially stable and credible nation. He emphasized that these indicators are no longer aspirational, they are measurable and real. One of the most unforgettable lines from his address came when Sudani declared, "We are no longer preparing for the revaluation, we are ready." Those words struck a chord throughout the dinar investment world. It was the first time an Iraqi leader had spoken so plainly and confidently about the revaluation, without evasive or uncertain language. While he didn't provide a specific date, Sudani confirmed that the formal announcement was imminent and would be shared soon with the public and Iraq's global partners. The aftermath of his remarks was immediate. Media outlets throughout the Middle East and beyond covered the story extensively. Financial analysts, local banks, and economists quickly weighed in, acknowledging the significance of the speech. Reports surfaced that banking institutions across Iraq experienced a spike in inquiries about the dinar, not just from Iraqi citizens, but also from international investors. For many who had grown weary of delays and false starts, Sudani's address represented a powerful shift in momentum. Dinar forums and social media groups lit up with new energy as people revisited their portfolios, reevaluated strategies, and began planning for what could be a life-changing financial development. For the first time in years, hope didn't feel speculative, it felt supported by evidence. Prime Minister Sudani also took time during his address to explain the specific benchmarks Iraq had been working toward. These included eliminating large-scale corruption, rolling out a comprehensive digital tax collection system, and establishing formal international partnerships with financial institutions. He assured the nation that these requirements had either been fully met or were in the final stages of execution. He didn't just say Iraq was improving, he asserted that Iraq was becoming a financial leader in the region. Perhaps even more significant was Sudani's reference to international endorsements. He spoke about recent positive assessments from the United Nations and various global economic institutions, which have shown renewed faith in Iraq's financial direction. This is no small development, as international support provides the credibility necessary for a major currency revaluation. Without that trust, any RV could carry serious risks. But with global backing, the likelihood of success increases exponentially. Sudani also zeroed in on transparency. He promised that all decisions regarding the revaluation would be made publicly and with full disclosure. This is especially reassuring for dinar holders who've been misled by misinformation or predatory schemes in the past. The Prime Minister urged everyone to rely solely on official communications and verified government sources. For Iraqi citizens, this wasn't just a financial update, it was a message of hope. Many have endured decades of economic instability. A strong dinar offers more than purchasing power, it offers the possibility of a better life. Sudani assured the people that protections are being developed to guard against inflation and to secure the value of their income once the revaluation is in effect. Special programs are also being planned to shield vulnerable groups during the transition. The Prime Minister addressed a specific concern that many dinar holders have had for years: what would happen if the zeros are removed from the currency? He explained that any such step would come with a nationwide awareness campaign to educate the public and that no one would lose money in the process. It would be a technical step in currency reform, not a devaluation or loss of value. This level of clarity from Iraq's leadership is exactly what investors have been asking for. It adds a layer of stability to what was once clouded by uncertainty. If everything Sudani outlined continues moving forward, this revaluation could be the most significant financial event Iraq has seen in decades. For investors outside of Iraq, the implications of Sudani's announcement are equally profound. If the revaluation moves forward as described, and the Iraqi dinar becomes globally exchangeable, those holding dinar in other countries, especially those who invested early, could potentially see significant returns. But Prime Minister Sudani was very clear on one critical point: only officially licensed and government-regulated exchange platforms will be allowed. He warned against using unauthorized services or falling into the trap of too good to be true offers that promise instant wealth. In these times of heightened excitement, fraud can flourish, and Sudani made a point to caution investors to be vigilant. He also advised dinar holders to start preparing necessary documentation ahead of time. The message was clear: be ready but stay disciplined, follow official channels, and avoid panic moves. For those who have waited patiently for this moment, preparation, not speculation, is the best course forward. In his remarks, Sudani expressed gratitude toward the Central Bank of Iraq. He acknowledged their efforts in upgrading financial infrastructure, modernizing national policy frameworks, and adopting systems that align with international standards. Among the achievements he highlighted, one stood out: the near-complete shift to digital transactions across government and financial institutions. This digital transformation is one of the strongest signals yet that Iraq is truly ready to step onto the global stage. A functioning and secure electronic transaction system is not just a convenience. It is a prerequisite for any successful revaluation and currency exchange process. The infrastructure now in place serves a dual purpose. It not only facilitates smoother transactions domestically, but also reassures international markets that Iraq is capable of handling the logistics of a modern financial environment. For many global investors who had been waiting for evidence of such modernization, this announcement was a green light. So why is this revaluation happening now, in 2025, and not earlier? That's a question many have asked. Sudani addressed it with candor. He explained that Iraq needed time, not just for economic recovery, but to build back its credibility in the eyes of the world. Launching a currency revaluation without the necessary financial reforms would have been premature and potentially damaging. But now, after more than 2 years of strategic planning and collaboration with international institutions, Iraq stands on solid ground. The timing, according to him, is no longer a barrier, it is the catalyst. That confidence is being echoed by many economists and politicians, foreign policy advisors, who note that Iraq's recent reforms mark a true pivot away from the instability of previous decades. What once seemed like a dream for dinar holders is now becoming a credible economic scenario backed by measurable progress. Let's also take a moment to acknowledge the emotional side of this development. For many investors, especially those who've held onto their dinar for 10, 15, or even 20 years, this moment is more than a financial event. It represents endurance, faith, and long-awaited validation. These individuals have weathered constant rumors, misinformation campaigns, and delays. To finally hear their hopes echoed in the words of Iraq's top leadership carries deep emotional significance. In this way, Sudani's speech was not just about economics, it was about honoring that perseverance. He acknowledged that trust had been broken in the past, both by internal missteps and external speculation. His promise to proceed with transparency and public engagement is an effort to rebuild that trust, and it appears to be working. The response has been not only enthusiastic, but organized. Investment forums are focusing on strategy over hype, and more people are looking toward regulatory guidance rather than rumor-based timelines. With revaluation on the horizon, one key takeaway is the importance of staying grounded. While the financial potential is real, especially for those who bought in early, the smartest investors are approaching the moment with clarity and caution. This is not the time for reckless moves. It's the time to confirm your records, consult licensed professionals, and be alert for updates from the central bank and official government portals. This moment is also a signal to the international community. Iraq is no longer just a nation recovering from conflict. It is presenting itself as a re-emerging economic force in the region. The central bank's alignment with global banking standards, the movement toward fully electronic systems, and cooperation with institutions like the United Nations all point to a strategy built for long-term success. It's worth noting that Iraq's economic rebound doesn't just benefit investors. It will directly improve the lives of millions of Iraqis who have faced decades of hardship. The promise of a stronger currency is also the promise of better access to goods, services, education, and global opportunity. Sudani's government has pledged to shield citizens from inflation during the transition and to implement supportive measures for lower-income families. These safeguards are vital, as sudden economic changes, no matter how positive, can create shocks if not handled carefully. At this point, what happens next will depend on how Iraq executes its final steps. If everything continues on track, we may see formal exchange mechanisms announced in the very near future. For now, the advice from Sudani is clear. Verify your dinar holdings, monitor official sources, and avoid shortcuts that promise fast gains. As the revaluation process moves forward, additional announcements are expected from Iraq's central bank and relevant government departments. These updates will likely include the specific exchange procedures, regulatory safeguards, and timelines for both domestic and international participants. Dinar holders across the globe should prepare to act once these formal steps are revealed. But as emphasized throughout, only legal and government-approved avenues should be used. This is not the time to gamble on unverified sources. If you're currently holding dinar and considering when or how to exchange, now is the moment to begin planning carefully. Review your documentation, stay connected to licensed financial advisors, and remain tuned in to official channels. Those who are prepared, informed, and cautious are the ones who will benefit the most from this historic transition. Prime Minister Sudani's message was not just a trigger for action, it was a reminder that timing and strategy are everything. Sudani also took time to reinforce one last warning. He pointed out that major financial transitions often attract scams. Unlicensed brokers and illegitimate platforms promising fast cash-outs are already popping up, some even using fake documentation or pretending to be affiliated with government bodies. Iraq's leadership wants all participants, especially international holders, to remain alert. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Only trust platforms that have been officially announced and regulated. On a technical level, the groundwork for this change has been laid with precision. From financial regulations to banking software and regional cooperation, each piece of the puzzle has been carefully placed over the past 2 to 3 years. The coordination with international banking systems is especially critical, because it allows the dinar to be traded in foreign markets in a compliant and secure manner. That international interoperability is what gives the RV long-term value. A deeper look into Iraq's financial architecture also reveals strong partnerships with regional and global entities. These include recent visits by foreign financial ministers, new trade agreements, and IMF-endorsed fiscal policies. All of these elements combined point to a singular conclusion: Iraq has made itself ready for the global stage. And with that, the dinar is poised to join the ranks of globally traded and respected currencies once again. But beyond the spreadsheets and systems, Sudani's message resonated on a human level. For Iraqi families who've endured years of hardship, this announcement means a chance at real progress. From stabilized grocery prices to increased wages, the everyday citizen could soon feel a tangible difference in their lives. This is not simply a moment of financial restructuring, it's the foundation for a better future. For many in the investment community, this also feels like vindication. After years of doubt, frustration, and online debate, a clear message has been delivered at the highest level of government. The question now isn't whether revaluation will happen, but how soon it will unfold and under what final terms. And make no mistake, the world is watching. As this story continues to develop, we urge you to stay focused, stay skeptical of unofficial noise, and prepare for official communication. If you're part of an investment group or forum, be a voice of reason. Encourage others to follow verified updates. This is a moment that demands clarity, not chaos. The momentum is now undeniable. Prime Minister Sudani has reset the global conversation around the Iraqi dinar. With modern systems, international backing, and a confident leadership message, Iraq is on the brink of financial transformation. What seemed like an endless waiting game is turning into a fast-moving, high-stakes reality. Whether you're a long-time investor or just entering the space, now is the time to watch closely. That brings us to the close of today's report. This could be the beginning of a new chapter in Iraq's economic resurgence and in the financial future of every dinar holder. We'll continue covering every development as it happens, so make sure you stay subscribed to Iraqi Dinar News for the most accurate and up-to-date information. If you found today's analysis helpful, please like, share, and comment below. Let us know your thoughts on this historic announcement. Do you believe the RV is truly imminent? Have you prepared for the next steps? We'll be reading your responses and covering follow-ups as they unfold. Until next time, stay informed, stay alert, and stay ready.